Mike's not telling you is that he's got the hooker on her hands and knees with her ashtray on her back.
What?
Show is intended for mature audiences. Parental discretion is advised. These are the voyages of the GNT show. Our continuing mission to explore Star Trek storytelling, to seek out new worlds and interesting characters, to Bowega, where no show has gone before. Live long and prosper, bitches.
And Joel on True, bitches. This is Gettysburg 7. It's April 30th, 2017. Episode 276 of the G&T Show. I'm Gettysburg 7. Sitting across from me in the glass-enclosed nerve center, while he's duct taped to the wall by a bunch of rambunctious German shepherds, it's Ceridium.
Kapla.
And in an undisclosed location somewhere in the United Kingdom, oops, it's Steve.
I'm just here eating pizza.
What'd you say? You're just there eating peanut butter?
Pizza.
Oh, pizza.
The United Kingdom is a pretty big place. I mean, if it could include Australia.
No, not now.
No, not really. I thought it's still kind of part of the UK, isn't it? I don't know.
Australia is part of the Commonwealth.
Yeah.
Oh, Commonwealth. Okay, and that
It's
would
very
also
confusing.
include
Canada as well, right?
Canada, yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Steve.
That was
Sorry,
a question
eating.
for you. Oh, mouthful of pizza.
Oh, it's gonna be one of those shows.
Yeah.
We'll start out by saying, so Steve has his silent bot again. Son Sale, we love you, son. Terry and Alan still sailing around the world in their attempt. Actually, we can tell you the truth now. They are attempting to be the first couple to float around the world in a hot air balloon.
Well, they're supposed to be back tonight. So apparently they're making it. Well, anyways, wow. Because they're supposed to be back tonight. The dogs threw a party last night. Oh man, I was walking. It was hard making it from the room to the front room, from my bedroom to the front room.
Now, which bedroom are you staying in? Are you staying in the one by
the guest one
by the garage?
By the garage.
Okay.
So having to walk down that hallway and not step on any dogs, because when Chloe and Casey throw a party, they know how to throw a party. This morning I had to start kicking mutts out. Yeah, there was a husky with his head stuck in the freezer. Don't ask me.
Go on with the shtick.
Hold on, I'm juggling here. And then, oh man.
Are you okay? Are the dogs attacking you?
No, but it's just I got like two hands and I'm like holding like six things. Yeah, so
you know what we need, Steve? We need that music.
I need an assistant here. But it just got crazy last night. I mean, I had told them you can invite two friends each from either the dog park or the pet salon, and well, apparently those two friends invited two friends, and next thing you know, there's a freaking animal control guy at the door wanting to know what was going on. I innocently told him, hey, we're just having book club. I don't think he bought it because Casey was reading Star Trek Cats, but the book was upside down. Apparently, that was the first time I had to deal with them. The second time was when the neighbors called the animal control guys to come out because some Chihuahua was barfing in their bushes. It got a little crazy.
Jesus Christ.
So the dogs are tired this morning.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
Imagine. You walk in a room, there's a Great Dane hitting a bong.
Pretty much. And the strippers are still looking for their collars.
God. Oh. Steve, did you put him up to that?
Nope, that was all Casey and Chloe.
How are they doing for real?
Oh, they are doing very well.
They missing mommy and daddy?
I think so, but I mean, they love their Uncle Mike, so we're having fun. When I first arrived, they both were sick. I mean, really sick, and but I had arrived a week early, so we were all able to get them comfortable and getting them nursed back to health, and by the time Terry and Alan left, they were eating, which was great. And
I don't think people that don't know Casey and Chloe don't realize what a big deal getting, especially Chloe, to eat can be. Because boy, she can be a handful.
Yeah, but ever since they were recovered, at least the time that they've been with me, Chloe has had no trouble eating. I mean, I lay it down. Good. She'll look at me and I'll pat her, give her a little butt rub, and then she'll chow down. She takes her time, of course. Casey, I mean, if it was a race, Casey wins every time, but yeah, they're doing very well. I'm happy with them. They're happy with me, and yeah, they're kind of like their ears are twitching because I keep mentioning their names. Oh, so cute.
We had it's sad. It's a very sad situation. We got another cat from the Humane Society. I think you saw the picture of her.
Yes.
We had to take her back.
Why?
Well, she spent the better part of 3 days non-stop growling at Mochi and attacking her. But even that, we were working on letting her, them get used to each other. But then she marked her territory by peeing and pooping on our bed. That shit ain't gonna fly.
So no, it's just gonna stain.
Yeah. So we took her back and we told them, look, she's wonderful. She's such a lover. It was obvious somewhere along the line she had been really abused, just by the way she reacted to some things, and that she's not a cat for people that already have an animal.
Being very territorial.
Very. So they were very thankful, and thankful that we brought her back to them, because it just broke our heart. But
yeah, and having an animal like that, it's possible to break them of it, but it takes a lot of time and patience.
And we literally got no sleep because she would just lay under the bed and growl. And it was that kitty,
man.
That.
Yeah.
I acknowledge Steve's joke, son, and Robert.
I'm still juggling like 4 things, so forgive me. And the microphone is one of them, because otherwise, if I put it too far away, or if I put it on the table next to me, it's too far away and you guys can't hear me. So I'm sorry.
What are you doing? Are you cutting up lines of coke while you're doing this?
No, I'm like, I've got the microphone. I've got. I'm still working on links for show notes and a bunch of other things. So yeah, it's just, and then there's a chat room.
Yeah, exactly, Supreme Leg. It's the anti-purr. It was, and poor Mochi would look at her like, "Why don't you like me? I'm just trying to come over and be your friend." And we had Mochi first, and this was her house, and yeah, we just couldn't do it. Okay, Robert, you know what? You blocked. How dare he?
What did he do?
Oh, he's just being a smartass. So, oh shit, there was something. Scheiße.
Apparently, I'm not the only one having an aneurysm this morning.
No. But I've been having difficulties because, okay, they can't figure out why I have this shooting numbness and tingling going through both arms. They're going back and forth between possible multiple sclerosis, which runs in my family, and a pinched nerve. I'm like, that's pretty wild on the scale there. But the medication they put me on for it, which is doing absolutely nothing. I've been having some memory issues too. Yes, Mike. Oh, Mike. Mike.
Yes.
You saw snow for the first time ever.
No, I've seen snow before. I've never seen snow fall. There's a difference.
Wait, what?
I've seen snow before, but it's usually, on the ground. It's like 3 days old. It's brown. It's dirty. It's sometimes yellow.
Mike is really into talking about bodily fluids today.
But I've never actually seen snow fall. It's usually, like I said, it's when I want to see snow, I have to go find it. I'm looking at like a 3-4 hour drive. And if I'm lucky, I'll find it. And it's just, and usually when I do, it's.
So did you wake up and it was snowing out?
Well, let's see. I woke up, the dogs wanted to go outside. It was cold as hell, so I let them out. And, I started, I saw little specks of stuff appear on Casey and Chloe's back, and I was like, "What the hell?" And I looked up and looked out, and on the edge of the wall, the wall in the backyard, I noticed that there was some powder starting to accumulate. And upon closer inspection, it was little. It reminded me, because I live in California, okay? So this is my perspective. To me, it looked like someone was like fleeing little specks of shaved ice, from snow cones
Right.
all over the place. To me, that's what it looked like. So that was my point of reference, was someone was playing around with a shaved ice machine somewhere.
So did you stand there outside letting it fall onto your tongue?
No, but I did try to catch some in my hand. And it went on, a good chunk of the day yesterday. I mean, it wasn't.
Are you serious? Because that's so funny to me, because it was like 89 degrees here yesterday with 60% humidity.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it was cold as hell. I mean, nothing really stuck around. It melted pretty quick, but it was falling pretty much all day.
Anybody else picturing Mike out there with the snow in his hair and beard? Can like Grizzly Adams.
But yeah, it was cool. I was kind of freaking out at first.
Mochi heard her name earlier and just came in and jumped up on my lap. Oh, that's
Talking-
Minnesota, you silly.
Talking about her.
I know. So Steve, did you have anything to add?
No, I've been pretty boring. I've just been trying to catch up with work, with time off for holiday and or death of a family member.
What was the
It's
holiday?
I went away with my son
Oh,
and
you
wife.
mean vacation?
Holiday means vacation
yeah,
for the
okay.
Brits.
So yeah, basically hadn't been at work for 2 weeks, and then my manager was off because of a death on his family. So I was also trying to do his job, and so yeah, just been busy working and trying to catch up. So yeah, haven't really had as much chance to do anything else, to be honest.
Mochi is staring at the chat room every time it scrolls. She gets all excited and her tail moves. So let's move on. Shall we go to? You know what? I want to talk about something.
Okay.
I want to talk about something for Discovery for a second.
We do have some Discovery news, so
Yes. And the big thing that I saw this week, and if there was something bigger that I missed, please let me know. But the big thing that I saw this week was there's still no date announced for when it's going to air. You know, I don't know if I consider that news for the same fact as I'm going to have dinner tonight, but I just don't know what time.
yeah, that's true. I mean, people are eager and excited for it, and
I'm eager and
that's
excited for
obvious.
dinner.
But it's like, when there's nothing new to really talk about, they still want to talk about it. So it's like, it's kind of dumb.
And the lovely and talented Dayton Ward posted something so true. He said, quote, "This is taking so long, it's going to be the worst Trek ever." Quote, "This is taking so long, it's going to be the best Trek ever." Hashtag fandom. Yeah, people, just stop it. Christ almighty. Put your, for now, put your into other things. You got Guardians of the Galaxy 2 opening this weekend. You got Alien Covenant opening in 2 weeks. You've got you've got just stupidity all over the place with stuff. Just please just stop it.
That reminds me of I'm sorry to interrupt, Steve, but that reminds me of the movie news that came out this week, and we can get to that in a minute. But go ahead, Steve.
The main issue is that people who run, I say news sites loosely, it's basically clickbait. There's nothing to report, so they're reporting on nothing with some sort of stupid headline in order to get people clicking through to their site.
Oh, because they know Star Trek will get clicks.
Yeah, and because of that, people then pick it up and it's like, oh, it's going to be failing, it's never going to happen. It's just like, oh, shut the fuck up.
Yeah. It's funny. Somebody who absolutely, and we do not talk politics on the show, but I just talking about clickbait. Somebody that absolutely despises the current president was like, "See, look at his poll numbers." I was like, "You mean the same people that told us he had a 1% chance of winning? You're gonna still go by polls when it suits what you think." I was like, just live your life. Don't worry about this stuff. Sunsail, that is a great idea. Sunsail says, "I still think Marvel missed a trick by naming it Guardians of the Galaxy Side B." That would have been awesome.
Oh yeah, yeah. Because then at the end of the first movie, he's given a new tape. But yeah, we
Volume 2.
Yeah, we should have gotten the B side first, and then Volume 2.
That is one of the greatest soundtracks ever.
Can I just
interrupt? I know. I don't know how they're gonna surpass it. Go ahead, Steve.
We've got some feedback on our Facebook page because we are live there. Someone's trolling us. They're actually posting as the G&T show and started off with, "So, does this show talk about Star Trek?" And I said sometimes, and then got the reply, "Hi Steve, tell everyone I love them," and it's Terry.
Oh, hi Terry. We miss hers.
Who?
We've got Terry Lynn listening on Facebook.
She's trolling us from Facebook.
Terry? Oh, you mean that person that used to be on the show? We miss you too.
So, trying to get back to Discovery. Looks like there's been some weird changes going on though that has been making the news. Let me see. First off, Penny Dreadful's Shazad Latif has had his role shifted. He went from playing the role of a Klingon commander, and now he's a Starfleet officer, Lieutenant Tyler. His old bad guy duties will be filled instead by Jericho actor Kenneth Mitchell, accompanied by Claire McConnell and Damon Runyon as high-ranking members of the Klingon Empire. Also, Discovery's tapping another beloved sci-fi franchise to stock its crew quarters with news that Battlestar Galactica's, forgive me, I'm going to butcher this, not on purpose though, Rekha Sharma.
Yep, she was in the last episode of Star Trek Continues.
Yep.
She played Tori.
She will play Security Officer Commander Landry on Discovery. So there is some news coming out regarding some shifting of characters as well as a couple of new additions to the cast. The shifting of characters. Now, to me, that seems a little weird that it would be happening mid-season or mid-filming. Having a character who's played Klingon, heavy makeup is involved, so it's probably easier to get away with it with a shifting a role like that. But isn't it unusual to shift character roles mid progress, mid production? Anyone know?
See, the reason I was thinking of taking a while is because in mid-production, we actually don't know how far into production they are.
Well, they started production about 8 weeks ago. They had posted, but just because that's not going to be his primary role doesn't mean that he could still play that Klingon they had previously announced, but it could just be a small role.
Yeah.
Well, he's listed as a commander, but that's true. It could be a role that's only appears in one episode. Or to go back to one of the rumors that was floating around regarding Discovery is that there is a spy, someone who shifts sides. Perhaps this is also an indication of that. I don't know. But again, that particular tidbit is just speculation and rumor, not to be taken as fact. But I just thought it was unusual that they would make a shift in like that, especially since, as far as I knew, production has been going on for quite a while.
Yeah, but like you said, it could be for one episode. So
true. And Jeffrey, Snowman Frost points out, Jeffrey Combs. I mean,
yeah,
he had multiple roles, and all of them involved makeup. So you really never really knew that. Well, it's Jeffrey Combs. How can you not know Jeffrey Combs? But I mean, he's talented enough to be able to pull off multiple roles. I mean, if he wanted to, he could play against himself. I mean, he's Jeffrey freaking Combs.
Mike's got a man crush.
So, but yeah, it's. I just thought it was unusual, but yeah, that does make sense. It could just be someone who the first role was a one-time thing, and this might be another one-time thing. Just like we had Brunt FCA and a couple other roles in in DS9 for Jeffrey Combs. So yeah. And Robert Reyes asks about the writer's strike. So you want to talk about
They
that, Nick?
voted to move forward. It's interesting, and I had posted something about, normally I'm somebody that thinks unions. I think the time that unions, there was a time and a place for them, but for the most part, a lot of unions. Here's my problem: when a union leader is making seven or figures or more, eight figures, I think that they've lost touch with the people that they're representing. So,
Well, that's
but
not all
that's just me,
unions.
huh?
That's not all unions.
No, but
A lot of unions are made up of volunteers.
not here. Not here.
There is some corruption in that process that probably should be, that really should be cleaned up.
And I think that
but
unions stick their nose into places that they don't need to be. Um, and the courts have been recently awarding, that, hey, your dues do not have to go for a union to support a candidate that you don't agree with, that they're just giving it, speaking on behalf of you when they didn't even ask. But anyway, but the writers union, I think, has a really good, we have discussed
the
ad
reason
nauseum
for
on
this
this
strike
show.
is pretty good, I think. Right? Is
Yeah,
that what you're trying to say?
yeah. We've discussed it ad nauseum here that the networks and producers and stuff are reacting. I don't want to say glacially because they're not, but they're reacting slowly to the changes in the changes of viewership and how things are viewed and all of that. And they
And even in
also,
the way television is even produced now. I mean, a few years ago, 20 plus episode seasons were common.
well, yeah, that's what I was going to say is
Yeah.
now the writers are making the same amount for, say, 13 episodes or 10 episodes of Game of Thrones that per episode that they made for 26 episodes of something else. But if they're a writer on Game of Thrones, which is a good example, it takes, 2 years for that series to get made. And
They
that's
only
2 years
earned
of that writer's life being locked up for 10 episodes at the same pay. So, and there's also new streams of revenue with different platforms of viewing and all of that. And I think they have a very valid argument and a very valid case that they should be compensated for their work on this. And if this goes back to the screenwriter or the writer, look, let me think of somebody. Okay, I have no denying. I may not like him as a person, but that Sean Penn is an amazing actor. He absolutely transforms himself. But what is he transforming himself through? Through the words that some screenwriter put down. And the fact that they are so ignored, just that they need to be compensated.
Well, yeah. I mean, these people are doing phenomenal work. I think this quality of storytelling, especially now, is a lot different than what it was. I mean, the whole serialized storytelling, I think, is a better approach. I mean, you're telling a large, expansive story, much larger than what you could have done before in the episodic way. So I think, just for that alone, um, the environment is different. And but the fact that shows are shorter, they're being produced for there's a lot more I think being produced because of all the streaming options that there are. Not just for broadcast cable, but now all the streaming channels. There's probably more work, but it's not as much work at a time. So, for instance, if they get contracted for Orange is the New Black, for instance, right? Um, they're going to have at most, and usually these shows have writing teams. So when although this show is 10 to 13 episodes long a season, that doesn't mean that writer is working all those episodes. They only get to
Right.
write 2 of those shows instead of the 13, or what used to be maybe 6 or 7 episodes. So it's not just so they're what they are able to do per show is less work, on top of being paid and still producing just as good quality, if not better quality, than what was being produced before. With standalone shows, you can you have quite a bit of freedom, as if you know what the characters are, who the characters are, and you have quite a bit of freedom to do whatever the hell you want on an
Exactly.
episodic nature. But when you're talking about a serialized story, you have to work and collaborate with everyone else. It's not just your story. It's not just your thing.
Well, and
It's
it really, it really depends too, because let's use the CW as an example with the Arrowverse. The Arrow writers, the
true.
Flash writers,
They have to collaborate even more so
because
because
they
it's
have to
not
know what's
just
going
one.
on the other series.
Exactly. So they, in turn, are actually doing a lot more and different and probably a lot more time intensive work, because they have to keep up with what other people are doing, in order to make sure that what they're offering is consistent. So yeah, I mean, it's a totally different environment than it was, say, when was the last
Just
writer?
10 years ago,
A
yeah.
decade ago? Yeah. So yeah, I think the writer strike idea is good. I don't like the strike idea. I do want
Right.
their contract to be improved, because to me it doesn't seem right that they're having to do all this more, and they're not getting compensated for it. So
Well, we don't want to make it sound like they're not getting paid. They are.
they are.
But there's money out on the table from different, 10 years ago. Was it 10 years ago when they had their last strike?
I think so. It's been a while.
2005, maybe it was 2007. When was season 2 of Heroes? Because I was deployed. So I want to say it was like 2006, 2007, somewhere around there. But look at all the platforms that have opened up now for shows to be seen. Like seriously, when I was deployed, Netflix was you sent and they mailed you a DVD and then you mailed it back. Now look at what
Yep.
they are. They're a streaming service with some of the most amazing original content out there.
And if you want, they still do DVDs, but you have to like pay extra for that shit.
Yeah, exactly. And they were actually sending to people in Iraq because we had a PO box,
Oh, right on.
and then they stopped. But boy, that was a big morale thing. But now you could still get it by streaming.
Yeah.
But yeah, 2007, 2008. Thank you, Robert Reyes. But yeah, so there's money being left, and you can't. Now I know that it's a very expensive proposition, but I'm sure I don't know the numbers, but I don't think Netflix is losing money. I don't think Amazon is losing money. Hulu, I don't know. I don't think they're losing money, but you want to keep building. Now I realize you get to a point where you things level off. That's just the way it goes. But you know, pay the writers, and
Without the writers, you don't have content, unique content to produce.
do they really think that they could go back to the era of nothing but reality shows?
Not on a streaming service.
Right. And certain in the networks, I think they learned their lesson. Think about it. 10 years ago, American Idol was uh, the tops. I'm sorry, I'm reading what Sunsale said.
Yeah, me
It's
too.
weird seeing the real snowflakes, passive income, rich bastards like shareholders, CEOs getting all pissy because companies are starting to pay more money to their employees and letting the big dogs take it. Well, you also have the problem, son, of shareholders who get upset uh, because yeah, exactly, that they're not getting as big but I don't know. It's a very weird time as far as we've almost I've never really thought this before, but we almost need to I don't want to say pull back, that's not the point, but there's so much technology coming out every day, more than I can remember in a long, long time. We had kind of an explosion in the 80s. The 90s you had kind of the separate curve, but now it just seems like it's every day there's something new that you can see, and it's it, I was seeing something. I saw something, and son, I think was it you I was talking to about this? No one pauses anymore. In this age of social media outrage at everything, no one pauses anymore.
Pauses,
And
as in to think about what
yes,
they're
it's
saying and doing.
instantaneous reaction. And this is where you get the social media bubbles. And should someone if Robert Reyes made a joke on Twitter, um, a bad joke or a joke that was misconstrued by fill in today's group that's offended by everything, should he lose his job for that? No. As long as it's not on the company's website, but like on his own Twitter, let's say. No, no, no. But we've reached this point where uh, your right to be offended supersedes Robert's right for free speech. And then people go, oh, well, free speech has consequences. Free speech does not mean you don't pause and look at who the person is and all of that. You just barrel out with the pitchforks and torches. Yeah, and Sunsale says anyone who pauses is instantly siding with the enemy in this day.
I see what you're saying. Sorry, juggling again.
No, you have people. Okay, Gilbert Gottfried got fired for a joke he made on Twitter from Aflac. He's a comedian. He's also a comedian who tells awful jokes. That's part of his shtick. They didn't know this, and that don't even. All right, you know what? I'm gonna go down a road here for a second. You hire somebody for your, let's say, to be your morning radio zoo. And you hire them specifically because they're outrageous and they do things that garner attention and they're offensive. Oh, but as soon as somebody gets their feelings hurt, you fire them. What the? All right, you know what? I'm gonna just. So, Steve, how are you?
Eating pizza.
Lenny Bruce died for our sins. It's true. Lenny Bruce died for our sins.
I understand what you're saying, Nick. I think we've talked about this before, but I think part of the problem is this whole 24-hour news cycle. It's not even a 24-hour news cycle. It's a minute-by-minute news cycle. It's like there's so much stuff being thrown at us all the time. People only have seconds to react. And
well,
then,
it's not even a 24-hour news cycle anymore. It's
yeah,
a 24-second news cycle.
Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah, and so they don't have the luxury to sit and think. It's like they have to instantly come up with it.
They choose to let their emotions and their "I'm offended" rule, and to put what they think. Okay, let's say I put something on the G&T page. I don't know, anything that I say on this show. Someone chooses to be offended by that. But what's worse, they choose to tell me what I was thinking. No, you weren't me. You weren't. Don't tell me what my words were.
Plus, they
Ask
should
me
know
what I
you by
meant.
now. You don't think.
Don't make 2017 harder than it is on me, Steve. You.
Well, the point I was trying to make is because there's so much information being thrown at us, people have been conditioned to come up with an instant response or an instant reaction.
Yes.
And then they're throwing other information, more stuff at, so they don't have the luxury to sit there and think about anything beyond a few seconds, just because they're being thrown so much information. It's just people are being conditioned to react instantly, and then move on to the next thing. And because they're not given all of the information, they're only going off of what they initially heard or what they suspect or whatever, what their initial gut reaction is. Their views are then clouded or from that point forward. So it's not really. It is a gut reaction, and it is, based on not having all of the information. But again, it's also a part of the way our society is conditioning people to be and to do. And it's like being offended is like the only the real only power that they have against this onslaught of information being thrown at them. It's like it's the only way they can get a word in edgewise, and it's sad. At least I think.
What do you think Klingon Facebook would be like?
Klingon Facebook?
Yeah. Do you think that they would just put severed faces on it?
This is the gach I had for lunch.
Check out my new bat list.
Yeah. Oh, my son just got a new paint stick for his Day of Honor.
Oh, so nice.
It has 3 settings.
Sun, super stun, and where'd my balls go?
So yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't even. I mean, wow, Klingon Facebook. Speaking of Klingon,
Horta porn.
I did see a new product come out, and it is Star Trek Klingon Monopoly, and it's bilingual.
Oh, I saw that. I actually saw that in the store.
Oh, really? Right on.
Yeah. And I burned it.
Oh. I thought that was kind of cool. Monopoly game that you can actually play bilingually. So, David, I think
your orientation has nothing to do with Monopoly.
Okay. Yeah. But yeah, I saw that and I thought that would be kind of cool.
Just totally. Okay, whatever, fat boy.
I just don't know what to. Yeah.
Go sit down, Baldy.
Earlier I had mentioned the movie news.
Oh yeah,
how it was. Okay, so this week, Zachary Quinto was interviewed. One second, let me get this open.
That's what she said.
Again, it's the whole juggling thing. So Zachary Quinto was interviewed, and it's not opening for me.
Is it open yet, Mike?
Yeah, it takes like 2 buttons to get it open, and one of them is the push the talk button. So it's like really odd. See, like I said, I'm juggling here. Okay, so basically, he was quoted, and at the end of the quote, he says, "Star Trek 4, there's no guarantee," but basically, he's saying that he's excited, but he hasn't heard anything. That he knows that they're in production somehow. They're working on it, but he hasn't heard anything, and that although he has a contract, there's no guarantee that anything's going to happen right away. That was basically the quote. But of course, the headline, Star Trek 4 is no guarantee, Zachary Quinto says. So they're taking just that one bit. And then there's another article that I came across the day later. It says, Zachary Quinto didn't know anything about Star Trek 4, and everyone flipped out. That's the title.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened. And then there's another article from Nerdist, actually, that I thought was actually pretty good. And again, it was all based on this. But basically, it went, or the title is, Should Star Trek 4 Begin Planting Seeds for the Next Generation? And we talked about this before, how Paramount and CBS, they should take a cue from Marvel, from Disney, Marvel, Star Wars, and start planning out their long-term goals for their films, for their franchises. And the writer for Nerdist suggested, they should definitely be doing that. And with Star Trek 4, they should start laying seeds that will eventually pay off with the next generation crew being introduced into the show or into the film series. I don't mind that idea. I mean, I really want them to have a big plan, to look at a big picture and see what's coming down the road. Now, they were also suggesting the idea that Star Trek traditionally isn't a huge blockbuster type of film, and that they should probably not try to fit themselves into that role. Because I don't think that they could do it as well, let's say like Star Wars or something, but make a lot more smaller films, things that tell good Star Trek stories and keep things moving forward, but don't cost $100 billion to make and only make half of their profit back or whatever the case may be. They would rather see a lot more cheap Star Trek movies than one huge Star Trek movie every 3, 4, or 5 years, if that makes sense. I agreed a lot with what they were saying in the Nerdist article.
Steve, don't tell me you weren't recording this entire time.
Oh no, this is just for closing credits. For people listening, one of my bots came into the studio.
Yeah, I forgot to hit the record button myself, so hopefully nothing goes wrong.
Yeah, I've got two machines recording, so as long as I don't drop out, we've got a show.
There was some very public. I'm sorry, Mike. While you were talking about that, I was trying to find something that goes in line with what we were talking about with the writers and stuff, but in a more generic term, as far as things go, there was a very public layoffs this week at ESPN, where they let like 100 people go. But this is, I think this really sums up a lot. ESPN is adapting to the realities facing all media companies. Consumers only want to consume the content they want, and increasingly, and this is something we haven't really talked about, they want to consume it on a phone, computer, or tablet, not a television, and they don't want to pay to get something they don't want. You would think these maxims are obvious by now, but much of the cable industry is built on the opposite, bundling channels together for a fat monthly fee. Yahoo Finance editor-in-chief Andy Serwer put it well on the live show this week. Because they've been part of the bundle, a lot of people have been paying for ESPN who don't watch it. That's not a great business model, people paying for something they don't want. So I think that
Yeah.
really goes to, you know how you can decide maybe how to pay if you're on a streaming and people are choosing Discovery at a high rate, maybe an incentive thing built in too with the writers. I don't know. Just oh yeah, Supreme Leggett. Star Wars movies do get more hype than Star Trek movies, but that's also now because of the Disney machine. And let's face it, the prequels, Star Wars hadn't been around in so long that, and it wasn't even on television, so it had been gone for what, 25 years? So that was a huge deal.
Yeah.
Star Trek, I mean, except for like small gaps like the 70s and then I guess most of the 2000s or half of the 2000s, I don't know. It's like Star Trek is almost always around, you know. It takes small breaks, but there's small breaks. Whereas with Star Wars, their breaks have been what, 15, 20 years long.
Yeah. And also, I'm sorry, but
And with only,
well, there's two things. One, I think Star Wars is, I don't want to say more accepted, but it's not looked up as geek. It's not looked as generally as Star Trek.
Yeah, because you don't have to think in order to enjoy a Star Wars movie.
Well, there's also the fact that after the first prequel, people went back to see the other ones going, come on, they must kill Jar Jar this time.
Yeah. That was Steve's attempt to be funny, people. But also, just look what's happening with Discovery. Something new Star Trek comes out, and already people are saying it sucks without seeing a single thing. I remember the excitement for Episode 7 and then Rogue One were so high. Sometimes Star Trek fans shoot themselves in the foot. Because there's, this is, you know what people don't say? This is the right way to do Star Wars. This is how Star Wars is. It's not this, it's this.
Well, you have to also keep in mind, you're comparing a franchise that has 13 movies and 700 plus episodes to a franchise that has, well, at the time, 6 movies and 2, 3, maybe 4 series over the course of its.
But Mike,
but they were like little kid animated.
I don't
series.
think you can go by that because Star Wars was and is a worldwide juggernaut phenomenon. I mean, they were still selling tons of Star Wars toys through the 80s and 90s.
True.
It was still very alive in the public consciousness. Star Wars is one of those touchstone films that changed how things were done, not only blockbuster wise, but creatively, because they invented a whole bunch of stuff. And look at ILM. So I don't think you can go by that. I think Star Wars probably has as big, if not bigger, name recognition than Star Trek.
Well, it does, but what I'm saying is in regards to the nitpicking that you had suggested about why they do this, that, and the other. I think that has to do with how large the franchise is. How much detail there is.
No, I just think Trek fans are way louder in their criticisms. They don't take time to enjoy. Star Wars fans will take time to enjoy. You know that when Discovery starts, there's going to be people with notepads and pencils or on their keyboards or their phones or their tablets or whatever, waiting to nitpick at every little thing and not even really seeing what they're watching because they're so busy looking for things to pick out that don't meet their criteria for Trek.
I'll probably be one of them.
Yeah, don't do that, Mike. Don't do that. No, watch
But
it the first time. Watch it the
I
first time
watch
with
it.
an open mind that it's a new show.
Oh, trust me. When I watch a new Star Trek series, and this dates back since the last one was Enterprise. But when I was watching Enterprise, I would literally watch it about 3 or 4 times a week. And the first time it would be, wow, this is new Star Trek. Wow. And I would just watch it and I would fan out. And then I would watch it again and then again. And start
Okay,
noticing the
that's
little
fine,
things.
but the first
But
viewing,
yes, the first
you were
viewing
watching
is
and
in
enjoying and
awe.
just being
Yes.
happy with it, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's not what people will be doing. You know it as well as I do.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, why is the rank on this side of the collar or the sleeve when it should be on the other side? Stop it. And Sunsail, God, I love you. Trek was outrage culture before outrage culture was outrage culture. And she's right. Trek fans don't pause. No, they don't. Look, I went and
I'll be right
saw
back.
a great example. When I saw Into Darkness, I saw it and I watched it and I absorbed it. I enjoy it in the theater? Of course. I mean, it wasn't until later that I sat back and reflected on it that I got pissed.
On Facebook, we've got Christopher Backer that says Star Wars fans wait until the trailers to start ripping on it. The Force Awakens got shredded maybe after the first week.
That's a good point. That's a good point. But at least they waited till the trailers, not in the pre-production.
I'm not even sure Star Trek fans waited for pre-production to begin before they started ripping on it. It got announced. They hadn't done any pre-production. They'd announced who was running it, and that's it. People started off then. So it hadn't even got to pre-production at that point. It's just like,
Yeah.
seriously.
But yeah, so I think they're two different animals in that. And I know a lot of Star Wars fans who read the novels and stuff. Whereas with Star Trek fans, I've run into so many that are like, I don't want to bother reading the novels. No, Snowman Frost, I would disagree. He says Star Trek fans don't pause. What kind of comment is that? No fans pause. That's why they are fans. No, there are fans that pause. Okay, a great example. When I heard about Alien Covenant, I got excited and I'm going to wait for it because I'm a huge fan of the franchise. But I didn't even want to know anything about it because I just want to be surprised. I haven't watched anything for Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Now, my fear is the topping the first one is a hard thing. The first one was really, really good. And it's hard to maintain that kind of momentum. That having been said, Marvel has been hitting home run after home run after home run. And so I think I'll enjoy it. I just don't. I'm not setting myself up for it to somehow top Volume 1 that I have to enjoy it for what it is, not what I want it to be. Wow, there it is. There's the key. Let me get all Dalai Lamish for a minute. Trek fans, enjoy it for what it is, not what you want it to be.
Can't agree with that. I can't disagree with that.
Which is it, Mike? You can't agree or you can't disagree. You're killing me, man.
I agree with you with what you just
Yeah.
said. Yeah.
Take it for what it is, not what it isn't. And somebody writing these down because I'm on fire.
Now, if only this was being recorded.
I had a moment of clarity on this show. That's in 276 episodes. This is maybe the third time.
So you're saying that you're done for the year?
Yeah, I have a headache now.
Right on.
Now, Mike, who's everybody's favorite Klingon? I said everybody's because Worf has people that don't like him. Kern even has people that don't like him. But who's everybody's favorite Klingon?
I could be facetious and say Gowron, but no, I think it might be Martok.
There you go, Martok. Have you been following social media this week?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, I think J.G. Hertzler is trying to not work for CBS again.
Uh-oh, what did he do this time?
Putting out messages of praise for a certain baked good that we know who just made a move cross country.
Oh, well, he's been in. Those two have been. A nice way to put it is collaborating for a while. So I was going to say something else, like in bed together for a while, but knowing some people that would be taken incorrectly.
Yeah, it's just. Oh well, I guess it just made me sad. Christopher Lloyd is everyone's favorite Klingon. Thank you, Sunseol. Come on, those of us that are old enough who saw Star Trek 3 in the theaters, don't tell me you didn't see Jim Ignatowski every time he spoke, though, because I sure did. Yeah, boss.
Is that from Taxi?
It is.
Okay. I vaguely remember Taxi.
How do you work the transporter? Slow down. How do you work the transporter? Slow down. How do you... Anyway. And by the way, Mike, Janet's not with us today because she's not feeling well. Is that correct?
That is the impression that I got. So we wish her a speedy recovery.
Suddenly, Mike is the mighty, mighty boss tones. Yes, please get well, Jesfa.
Am I sounding weird?
No, they had a song, the impression I get.
Oh, okay.
What else did you have in your list of fun today, Mike?
Well, I thought this was kind of interesting. NASA experts say they won't follow Star Trek's prime directive when exploring other planets.
Oh, and in other news, too, you saw about the Cassini spacecraft, right?
No, what's going on with Cassini?
Oh, it went through the rings. It's been sending back pictures from inside the rings.
I had heard that was coming up, but I did not see that.
Yeah,
I need to look that up.
Amazing. And by the way, hashtag Pluto's still a planet.
Right on. Let's see the NASA article.
And Ridley Scott said that aliens are real and can wipe us out in 3 seconds. Did you see that?
I did not.
Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. I keep stepping on you. So they won't follow some kind of non-interference?
Well, this was at a Comic-Con convention type thing. And let me see if I can find some information. Again, juggling the mic while holding the control button and then using the mouse. Yeah, that fun. let's see, it was at I'm not finding it. Silicon Valley Comic Con, and they had some NASA terraforming expert explain about some of the things that they want to do, like to Mars and other things, and that's kind of where the gist of it comes from, is because right now what we are doing on Mars is we're being very careful what we send over there. We're making sure that nothing from Earth, meaning no organisms, microbes, whatever, from Earth are going over there. Everything's like super sterilized. But eventually, when they decide that it's time to start terraforming, they're going to be transplanting all kinds of stuff. So I guess that's kind of where the difference lies. Is the Prime Directive? It doesn't prevent them from visiting a planet. You know, like in Star Trek, they visit planets all the time. They go in disguise. They do all these things to observe in ways that they can observe without actually, you know, interfere. But they're not afraid to go. Whereas with NASA, we are being very careful in how we proceed, probably to an extreme compared to what the Prime Directive would support or allow at this point. But once we start making those strides to actually colonize, and I think the whole idea of Prime Directive is going to be thrown out the window. We're going to remake the planet the best way we know how, which at the moment is not. But but I thought that was kind of an interesting idea. It might be something worth talking about. Is like what other aspects of the Prime Directive? Because there's a lot to the Prime Directive. What other aspects of the Prime Directive should NASA keep or utilize or discard as as we start going out into space and exploring what's there? Do you have any thoughts on what parts of the Prime Directive we should keep or throw out, or what makes sense?
Oh, boy, that's tough. Well, I definitely believe that, but I don't know how realistic it is, because I think if we were to start going out exploring now, I don't think we have the ability to observe a culture if we found one, to see where they were and not interfere with it. Does that make sense?
I do understand. Although we do have some capabilities. I mean, we have stealth aircraft. We have the first early prototypes for various types of cloaking meta materials that allow cloaking. You know, so given a little bit of more time, we may be able to cloak a human fully. We may be able to cloak an aircraft, a spacecraft. So being able to observe like they do in TNG, you know, I think that isn't too far off. So I think by the time we actually get to the point where we're actually able to reach another planet, and if we do find life, I think it is possible that we can observe without interfering. But I think humans are a little too loud. I think.
Yeah, but you don't know what's out there either.
True.
They could make us look like a bunch of lithium patients.
That's true. But I think once we find, if we were to find extraterrestrial life, we would totally interfere. We would totally make ourselves known, and would definitely try to either try to make friends or try to what was it? The when the early explorers, okay, when they came to the Americas, they came for resources and gold and all this stuff, and then they left their religion. I think I think that's just we're going to just replay that in some way. We're going to go there and we're going to want resources or whatever they have, and we're going to try to leave them some philosophy or something that they don't need, don't want, and and probably does more harm than good.
So you think they'll make the same mistakes they made before? They came, they saw, they slaughtered.
I would not disagree.
And Steve, speaking as an Englishman, your people knew all about that. Oh!
I'm a Scot, so...
Yeah, okay. Oh, yeah, you're so much less
violent. Yeah.
Please.
No, what I meant was more violent, but...
Well, and I'm Portuguese. I'm my people, my ancestors were the first
That's a good
ones
point,
to
Mike.
explore.
Everybody lets the Portuguese off the hook.
Yeah, I mean, really, we're the ones that started the shit, okay? That's the reality of it. So I hate to say it, but I think I know. Yeah, I think we would just repeat the same shit.
You know what? It's Columbus and the Italians that get pilloried. Hey, people, look at the Scots and the Portuguese. Bastards.
But yeah, I mean that's what I think. What do you guys think? I mean,
no, I think you're right.
Plus, we do have NASA. They have made cases that some of the outer planets in our solar system have subterranean oceans. We think that there are subterranean oceans, and which implies that there's a hot core, so there could be life in some way. Sorry, excuse the dogs. So there could potentially be some form of life in those oceans. I'm not saying that there's. Excuse me a second.
Mike's now going to kick dogs.
Sounds like they're having a rough time.
You know what it is? It's when they're waking up after the coke binge last night.
Yeah, they're hallucinating. So they're settled down now. But if we were to go to one of those outer planets and discover maybe not intelligent life, but alien life that we've never seen before. So maybe an alien fish, for lack of for lack of better understanding. What do you think we would do if we went to say I don't know, Europa?
No, all these worlds are yours except Europa. Leave this one alone.
So there could be some. Well, you understand what I'm trying to say is, yes. What would we do if we went to, say, for example, Europa, and we found an alien fish? What do you think we would do? What NASA would do if we did that?
My honest gut. No, I think that our scientists would study it. Now, are you talking about scientists, or are you talking about if someone sat down to colonize?
Well, it would, before anyone colonizes, there would be studies first. So,
are you sure?
I'm someplace that far out. Yeah, I mean, our plan right now for any kind of colonization is to send in the robots first. Look at what we're doing on Mars.
I think they would study it. I don't think they would. No, I don't think they would exploit it. I think the scientific community, there's too much to learn.
So, do you think they would observe first, and then
yes.
Do you think that they would try to bring a specimen back for further study, or study it from afar?
To be honest,
I think from afar they have to study it in its natural habitat.
I think at first. I think eventually, though, they would want to get their hands on one, and it'd probably be easier to, have a robot capture one and send back, and then once they get it here, dissection time.
Thing is, it depends who's actually doing it. Because if
Go
it gets
ahead.
to the point where we have the technology and we have private companies and military forces going out to do the exploration, then it depends who's doing it. If it's a company, then they will be going out to exploit whatever resources they can get.
It's a
If
great
it's
point.
military, they will be out there to, again, exploit any resources or
But to conquer
biological
territory as well.
entities to sort of make a claim and use it for defense and offense.
Yeah, is it science
whereas
or
if
is
it was
Weyland
science,
Yutani? That's
yeah. So it all depends on who's doing the exploration sort of thing and who gets there first.
That's true.
That's a really good point, Steve.
That is true. If it's military, kill it and don't worry about it. If it's a corporation, can we exploit this? Can we turn it into a zoo specimen? And if it's science, yeah, you're right. They would observe and they would try to understand and probably not interfere with it too much until they need to learn more about it.
But if we need to learn whether something's dangerous or not, we can just put Baz on a planet with a knife. He's from a country that's already got dangerous everything in it, so he'll be okay. And if he survives, we know it's just okay to sort of go there.
Naked and Afraid with Baz.
Hi,
Oh,
Baz.
man. Hi, Baz.
Oh man!
Wow.
I want you to notice it was Steve that made the shot at Baz, not me.
Yeah, or me. That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Welcome to
now
the
our
team.
people are turning on each other, just as we intended.
So-
No, but you're right. Is it the scientific community or is it Weyland Yutani? That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
Now, how about I think the fish. What about if they discover some kind of new element?
Some kind of new thing that
Yeah, something
Salty
that
Pass.
could be more, than more. I don't want to say more rare because it's not that rare, but something that would be more fetching than diamonds.
well, it sounds like we're getting into Avatar territory now. I mean, isn't
All right,
this almost the premise for Avatar?
Just so you know, never saw it.
Oh, how about Starship Troopers? That was also kind of a similar premise, if I'm not mistaken.
No, Starship Troopers was
not
all about bug hunts.
That's true. There was some other movie where they go to another planet to get some special some special thing that's only there, and they end up going to war with the local life forms and stuff. I can't.
That's called 1492.
There's lots of films like that.
Thank you.
But yeah, if we were to discover some rare element or some rare mineral on some alien planet, what do we think? What do you think that we would do? Is that your question?
Yeah. Do you think that humans would set up to exploit it?
I think.
Hold, Mike. Before you
Yeah.
answer, I have to answer Matthew Anderson.
Okay.
Matthew, the book was so different from the movie, and that was on purpose. If you rewatch the film as a very dark comedy and a very dark social statement, that's all. That's good point, Supreme Leggett. Dina Meyer's naked too. So,
Yeah.
but the book is a far, far, far different animal than the movie. Sorry, go ahead, Mike. Do you
No
think we
problem.
would exploit it? Exploit? The hell is exploit? I'm exploiting my skin.
I think it'll be similar to what we are currently trying to do with asteroids. Right now, corporations are eyeballing them. They are trying to figure out what is the best way to get to them, to get the minerals out of them, and to bring them back. And I think that's what the process is going to be like. We're going to, if we were to say go to some planet, find something new and shiny, we're going to figure out what is the best way to what is the best way to get that into our hot little hands. Would it be easier to send a bunch of robots out there to extract it? Would it be easier to bring the whole kit and caboodle to us? Or would it just be easier, I don't know, just to send people, send robots, or to bring it back to us, bring the whole thing here? I mean, that's, I think what we would do is try to figure out what is the most cost-effective way to get our hands on it. And then whatever that would be how we would proceed. Because I can only see like corporations really wanting to do that. Now, if it was something for the military to be interested in, it would have to be something that could be weaponized. So that would be a different thing, a different story.
Steve?
But as I said, it all depends who's doing it. And the thing is, as already mentioned, we've got so many companies already going to do commercial flights as it is. And to be the first to go to Mars and get people to pay to go out, that, how long before they're looking to basically colonize dwarf planets or something, or even look at commercializing terraforming, if that's even possible, to sort of do some sort of remote dwarf planet resort or something to sell. It all depends. If someone goes out there for a commercial venture, they're not going to give a crap about who's there and things like that. But if it's the scientific community that gets there first, then yes, they're going to take more precautions. They're going to have a look to see if it's got life. You'll have more of the sort of Federation sort of outlook of what meets criteria for something that should be terraformed, for example, to make sure there isn't any life there to sort of kill. But until we know who will be doing that, but based on sort of, even if you look at expansion of our own planet, most of that was done and was actually financed by companies, was financed by governments and military. So based on that fact, once space travel becomes cheaper, it's going to be those companies that deal with it. So when it comes to scientific stuff,
do you think
Did we lose Nick?
No, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we just got, do you think, and then it went
and then
quiet.
You dropped off. Yeah.
Okay. Do you think that exploration of space, and even if we start colonizing, should be regulated by I hate to say the United Nations because I'm not a big fan of the United Nations, but by some kind of body, or that private industry should be allowed to do it?
It should be regulated, and it should be by some sort of organizations. Yes, things like, even whether it's the EU or it's the United Nations, these things aren't perfect, but you have less of a chance of people sort of trying to use those organisations for their own sort of means. And so it should be something like that, where you have sort of people from the public who make up these organisations and committees, and you have these checks. But yes, I think these things should be regulated, because otherwise it will be we claim this, we claim that, and then there's just going to be more wars, more fighting, more disagreements.
I kind of have to agree with Steve. I think we have to, normally when we discover something or find something new, we try to exploit it to its fullest, and then we find out later on that what we've done is damaging, and then we spend the next decade, the next several decades, trying to figure out how to fix what we broke. I think if we go in with care and try to make sure that we're look at how we're currently trying to proceed with Mars. We're being very careful not to transplant any microbes or anything over there. We're making a conscious effort to make sure that what we do does not harm that particular environment. Granted, it's only a short-term thing until we know that there's no real life there. Once we know that there's no real life on Mars, then all cards are all bets are off, and we're gonna remake the bitch. But I think we need to proceed carefully, and the only way we're gonna do that is if we have some overseeing organization that kind of says that does make us pause and think before we act. And I agree with Steve. We should proceed very carefully. Otherwise, things can break down very quickly, and we could end up with war in battlefields that we've never seen before.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now.
All right.
Yeah,
I don't know.
just
My
heard that.
computer's hiccuping for some reason.
Do you have a lot
Did
of
you
porn windows open?
Always,
Did you try giving it a fright?
Close half of them.
Steve. No, I think you know what it does. It goes into these And to be honest, I haven't had my computer open in a week, so.
It's taking this opportunity to do everything it's been waiting to do.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's it'll be interesting to see. Now, do you think we'll actually see in our lifetime? I don't even want to say the landing, but people begin the journey to Mars.
Yes.
Yes.
You do.
Yeah, in the next 10, 15 years.
You know, I heard that 10 to 15 years ago.
Yeah, and then there were some budget cuts. That's the thing. If we decide that we want to go to Mars, we have to make the effort. We have to do it. And sadly, every administration comes in and they have a different plan. Sometimes Mars is on the agenda, sometimes it isn't. But
isn't this something though that it shouldn't be country specific? This should be something the world's scientists work towards. Like a great example is even during the height of the Cold War, Soviet and U.S. scientists were working together in searching for certain really deadly diseases and how to beat them, like Ebola and things like that. I think science is politically neutral, and this is something that the world could work together for.
Yes, but it's the funding and all of this, the stuff that's needed.
Process private corporation will achieve that. So you think somebody like what's his name from Virgin,
Richard Branson.
Richard Branson.
Elon
Somebody
Musk.
like him.
Elon
Elon
Musk.
Musk.
Elon Musk and his companies will be the first corporate entity to get there, assuming that. But there's so much resources required to be able to pull off something like that. You're right. It has to be a worldwide initiative. However, that will take the backing from governments. It'll take the backing from corporations. It's not something that just one company can do or one country can do. It's too big.
I'm sorry. And we're now getting our first images from the colonists on Mars. These images brought to you by Ford. Head to your local Ford dealer.
No, Tesla. Elon Musk, he makes Teslas.
No, I know. I'm just saying, with corporations being involved, the spacecraft goes up with the giant Goodyear on the side of it.
Yeah, no kidding. There's a documentary fiction show. It's weird. It's a fiction. It's a fiction story, but it's kind of made in this like pseudo documentary style, and it's about the first mission to Mars, and then the colonization of Mars.
National Geographic.
Mars.
Yeah,
I think so.
Very good series.
Yeah,
is it good?
I loved it. I've watched it many times. It's so good. I loved it.
I think
By
they've
the way,
dubbed
Mike,
that style of
watching
filming.
I started watching Sun Records, Mike.
Oh, excellent. How you like the Sun?
It's with the Colonel with the ducks.
Oh yeah.
I was laughing my ass off.
Yes.
And hello, Mr. Man with your business partner. Hello. He's got good taste. What can I say?
Yeah.
But it's fun watching the Jerry Lee Lewis and Jimmy Swaggart.
Mm-hmm.
I can play better than him.
But yeah, it's a great
good point.
show.
It's not hard to get there. It's much harder to live there. Now, would you volunteer, knowing it's a one-way trip, to be on the colonization?
As long as I could get a good internet speed.
So Steve says no.
It takes 24 minutes, I mean, it's like the porn download is.
It's like when dial-up first came along.
Yeah, it's gonna be
downloading
like
that porn pic took you 45 minutes, and then it was blurry. No, but would you volunteer?
Okay, I guess I'll go first. That's a difficult question, but if I were in better
You'd be
health,
a pioneer. You'd be looked upon
if I were in better health, better shape, I would go. I would go. I think that would be totally fun, totally awesome. But yeah, in my current condition, I think it would be exceedingly difficult.
Well, yeah, no, I understand that, but
my heart
right.
would totally want
if you
to
were
go.
able to do it physically,
My heart would. I would totally go.
Steve, would you?
Let's see.
See, I think it's a little different for Steve having a wife and kids.
True.
The thing is, for me, the idea of being stuck inside all the time, I'd love it.
It's an introvert's dream.
I'd have no more problems with my allergies, so yeah, that would be a good thing. But yeah, especially sort of with a family, probably not. No.
Unless you're taking them with you, but
now,
Yeah.
would you?
do you want to uproot your little boy?
It depends if other families would be going.
I was
True.
just going to say that if the colonization were to happen, I think you'd have to have families, wouldn't you? Otherwise,
For
you'd-
long-term
and-
sustainability, yeah.
because otherwise, then you need to be sending up also people who are gonna, they're gonna fucking have babies.
Thing is, the first initial cruise, it would definitely be a no because
Right.
they'd
that's
be
the
looking
people
to
setting it
establish
up.
things. Yeah.
Yeah.
But after that, once they're starting to get things sorted, then
Yeah, once
yes,
they
if
have all the
family
necessities,
could come. Yeah.
once they have food, water, shelter, oxygen, once all of the necessities for life have been established, then yes, then you can start sending in families, but not for the first round or even the first probably 5 or 10 rounds.
Now, do you think they should start with maybe doing that on the moon before Mars?
I think it'd be harder to do on the moon. At least with Mars, there is frozen water underneath the crust, which they can at least look to use as a resource. With the moon, you don't have that.
There's water in the shadowy, in the permanent shadows of craters, I do believe, but
But also, Steve, here's the other side of it. If something were to go wrong, you can get help to the moon a lot faster.
Yeah, but even given the time it would take, basically, if something like goes terribly wrong, you're screwed either way.
I don't know. They could have something on standby to.
It would still take them
Be
a
able
day
to
to get out
launch.
there.
Right, but you're still going to be able to get there a lot faster than you would Mars.
3 days from according to 1960s time, or time to travel versus 6 to 9 months.
Thing is, if you've got a two-way convoy of shipments continuously going between Earth and Mars, then you could still have something that was
But
not too far out.
Here's an alternative. If you use the moon, then you have a further logistics line.
Well, one of the potential paths for colonizing Mars that I've looked into or heard about is using Mars, or excuse me, using the moon as a kind of depot
Right, a supply
for
depot.
Mars. Yeah, so essentially we would be extracting some of that water from the shadowy parts of the moon craters, and then using that to turn into fuel. That way we don't have to launch fuel from Earth. We just have to launch it from the moon, which would be an easier prospect. And then sending that towards Mars, using that for the trip to Mars.
Because I'm not trying to be funny when I say this. People that are okay, with the exception of having a breathable atmosphere, I need to point that out. But people that are doing stuff in Antarctica and stuff, they are just as far away from help in some cases because of weather and things like that as you would be on the moon.
But now they have a thriving community down there. It's not like when it first started, though. When it first started, you were very isolated, sometimes days away from help. Now, it's a lot easier because they actually have a community. They have resources. They have things that they've built up over the last, 50, 75, 100 years.
I had a friend that actually did 6 months down there. It's not that built up, Mike.
I've seen some photos. They have grocery stores. They've got.
But do you know how long it takes to get the stuff there?
Oh yeah, it's definitely not easy, but I mean it's the closest
when they discovered
analog.
the UFO with the thing in it. I'm just saying.
I'm just saying that it's the closest analog.
What I'm saying is, though, even here on Earth, there are places that it takes just as long to get to as the moon.
Yeah. Or to Mars. I mean, for instance, some parts of Canada, you could only get get supplies up, during the summer months or during the winter months when the rivers and whatever are frozen over. So, even here on Earth, it could be just as difficult to get supplies to as the moon or Mars or so. Yeah. But I think one of the best solutions is to use the moon as a supply depot, and then on the Mars side, it'd probably be easier just to set up a little orbiting station, just a little place to kind of sort of to have to coordinate all activities, everything coming in, everything going out, everything going down to the planet, everything coming up from the planet. I think it would be easier to do something like that on the Mars side, because our chances of landing, our luck, or what is it that I'm trying to say? Our ability to land things on Mars currently, being shot from Earth directly to Mars, has been meh, 50-50, at best. We lose half of the stuff we send. So I think if we could actually, get things, say, to Mars orbit, and then from there send them down, we would have fewer disasters.
It's one of the
Yeah.
reasons why they're actually working on that tech at the moment, and I think it was
Uh-huh.
actually last year they actually performed the first takeoff and landing of a rocket.
Yeah, the Elon Musk's company, SpaceX, I think it is.
Yeah,
That's
SpaceX.
it, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, SpaceX is definitely making strides, especially towards the reusability side of things,
Right.
which is a key factor into making any kind of trip to Mars financially feasible. But it's going to take decades before they are even ready to make the attempt. A government on, let's say, a 1-year journey. Well, collaborative governments can probably get there quicker if they applied themselves. If China, Russia, United States, the EU got together and said, "Hey, we can do this in 10 to 15 years, 20 at most, but we have to all be in, and we all have to do it."
It would be amazing what they could accomplish.
Yeah, we would be able to do it.
I
Whereas,
think, I think that would be something that would actually unite the world.
it very well could be, just like what the moon landing had done. That moment, walking on the moon, how for that moment the world was united.
Mike,
Yes.
we never walked on the moon. It was done on a Hollywood soundstage. Buzz Aldrin was never on the moon. Oh, he just hit me! Ow! And for some reason, I got a I got a letter of cease and desist from Harlan Ellison. I don't understand.
Oh boy.
But I really do think that we could stop. I think if Kennedy's call for an American on the moon were somehow today transformed to
A human.
humanity, let's put people on Mars, I really think that it could be done pretty quickly and non-politically. And that would be so important that the people that went up and started it all are doing it to be explorers and to be the next the first generation out there. And I think it would only make things boy, if you had Chinese scientists, Russian scientists, British, German, American, Canadian, uh, South American, that would truly be a melting pot without the politics involved.
I agree. I mean, if we could get off our collective asses and just agree to get along and do this one great thing together, it would be. It's kind of like that whole idea of a snowball, rolling downhill.
But the
Um,
problem is that governments be, oh, I don't want to share this technology. I don't want to share this technology. We don't want them to know about and then it falls apart.
yeah, I mean, I think that's bullshit too. Um, but I think that's the only if we want a quick and easy, well, not easy, but if we want the fastest solution, I think that's it. Everyone working together and doing what needs to be done to get there, and then
I think it could be done. Oh, pardon me. Hello?
Hello.
Oh, okay. Did we lose Mike? Mikey, can you hear me? Ground control to Major Mike. Oh no.
No.
Oh, that's yours. Okay.
No, that was Iridium that dropped.
Ground control
I'm
to
back. Can you hear
Major
me now?
Mike. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, that was weird. TeamSpeak just dumped me, but okay. But a corporation, they like SpaceX, that is one of their goals. But I think it's going to take 30 to 50 years to be able to pull it off.
You think that long? Seriously?
Just because if they have to field the cost of all the research and development themselves, it's going to take time. It's not like a government or a collaboration of governments. They could do it a lot quicker because they have the resources to throw into it immediately, whereas a corporation, they have to build up into it. They have to build into it. They have to, they have to move fast enough to and carefully enough to produce profit along the way. So they have to have, like right now, SpaceX, their orbit, they have a spacecraft. They are shuttling stuff up to the International Space Station. Phase 1, it's paying for itself now. Phase 2, they're developing the reusable rockets. That'll help with phase 1. That'll also help them, start, doing vacations in space, which they've already have some people booked for. Phase 3, start shuttling things over to the moon. So again, but they have to make each step pay off for their investors, and that's where it's going to take them a little bit more time. So whereas the government, they don't have to worry about that payoff. They can just move forward, just keep moving forward. So because of that, it's going to take longer.
Yeah, okay. I can agree with that.
Okay, I'm just making sure that I didn't die on you guys again. So, what do you guys think, Steve?
Sorry, I was busy sorting out loads of other things.
No problem.
Wasn't really listening to that last bit.
This is why we can't work together, Mike, because Steve. No.
I like Steve. He's my nemesis, but I like him. Snowman Frost says governments need to explain such efforts to their citizens. Yes and no. Granted, they do have to kind of justify it, get the people behind them, in order to make sure that there's not going to be a mutiny on their hands, so to speak. But I think for the most part, it's an easier sell than if they were trying to sell. Than a corporation would have to go through to sell to their shareholders. Their shareholders want to make money. They have to make money for their shareholders. So whatever their goal is, they have to think about the profit line along the way. The government doesn't have to do that. And that's I think the biggest difference is the government, they can get people excited with a statement, but by coming up with a good story or a good reason for it. A great speech can motivate people, right? And then once they have the people's support, great, they can proceed and they can spend all the money they want. But on a corporation, a speech is not going to get you as far as if your bottom line is in the red.
Keep it in the black. Keep it in the black. Keep it out of the red. Keep it in the black.
Exactly. If it's not, you can blow all the hot air you want, but if you're in the red, you're not going to be doing what you're doing for long. So yeah. So it really just depends. I mean, I mean, science is definitely the way to go. They're the ones that need to go, you know, but they can't do it without one of the other two. And it's either the government or it's the, and by government I also I also could imply military. So it's either
How? I'm
government
sorry, I just
or
had a
corporations.
question for you, Mike. Do you think that they could make a ship for going to Mars, something like Steve was talking about shuttling back and forth, nuclear powered like a submarine?
I've seen a couple different designs or potential designs. I do a lot of research on space travel. I'm that kind of geek. One such design actually used kind of like this solar sail type idea,
Right.
but it used small nuclear explosions to kind of propel the ship forward. Now, is that what you referring to? Or are you referring more to nuclear powered, meaning it's running a more of an electrical type of system?
Yeah, like they use on submarines or aircraft carriers.
I think that is feasible. I mean, we just sent the spacecraft that we sent to Pluto. Wasn't that nuclear powered?
Was it?
Not sure.
I'm not sure. It might have. I know there was some kind of new engine that was supposed to get us there so much faster, but I think it might have been ions.
Yeah, I was going to say, isn't that the new ion drives they're planning?
Yeah, that might have been an ion drive. But I think the idea of a nuclear reactor using, providing power for the thing would definitely probably be the better way to go, just because it's a more long-term power. The power, you're talking about a lot of power over a longer period of time, which you could do with less resources if it's nuclear than you can, say, with other types of fuel. So I think that would, but again, you have to be concerned about shielding and et cetera, et cetera. So, but there's also another. So I think nuclear power is probably the way to go. But I had seen there's been a lot of development. NASA's playing around with an EM engine. Basically, it's I think if I'm understanding it correctly, it's supposed to produce propulsion by focusing and
Are you still there, Mike?
Oh, damn it, I forgot to push the button. See, juggling too many things at once. So they're supposed to be using like electromagnetic or kind of like magnets to kind of push and propel crafts forward. It's supposed to be like real energy efficient or something, but I don't know. So I mean, there's
now a final question.
Okay.
Would you like to see a Trek series based on this era that we're talking about of the start of colonization?
I don't know if a Star Trek series based in this era would quite work. I think
Why
it's
not?
too close. I think it's too close.
Starfleet was, the Enterprise era, and they weren't really that far out yet.
Isn't this then just a show which is a prequel to Expanse?
I have not seen Expanse, so I don't know.
I think it'd be Expanse is kind of already playing around in this era, this time frame. They're a little bit further out time wise, but
okay.
I think it's just a little too close to where we are now. If they used what what we're about to do as an analog, but setting it, somewhere else, 1,000, 400 or 500 years in the future, some new thing where we're starting to colonize. That would be worthwhile to see, to have, Star Trek show analogous to our exploration of Mars, but actually focus on Mars. No. I think what they did with Voyager, with Enterprise, I think Enterprise, did Enterprise? No, I think it was just Voyager. What Voyager did with Mars exploration was cool. And I think that's probably what the limit of what we should do with any direct Trek series in regards to Mars. But if we want to do Trek, but have it be an analog to what we're doing in Mars, I think that'd be great.
All right. Now, Mike, do we have any announcements?
Semantic Shenanigans, I believe they have a new episode out. I Live, Love, Play, they always have something going on there, so check them out. I think we're going to be launching a Facebook contest soon.
I do have an idea for a Facebook contest.
Well,
Star Trek haiku.
Interesting. The one that I'll be launching is you're gonna groan. I know you're gonna groan, but
if it's Klingon, no.
No, it's not Klingon.
Okay.
I got a copy of Star Trek Cats, the book Star Trek Cats, and I'll be reviewing that. And with the review, I'll be officially announcing a Star Trek cat pun meme contest, and the winner will get the copy of the book. But so start thinking about your Star Trek cat meme, cat pun memes. But yeah, that should be coming out soon on Facebook only. So,
all right. Steve, any announcements?
That's all I got, I think.
Remember to like the GNT show page.
Thank you.
On Facebook.
And tomorrow I'll be recording a Mike. What am I recording tomorrow? The Gettysburg Address.
Gettysburg Address.
It'll be a fun one. Steve, you still need to set that other one up.
That's actually what I've been doing during the show. I've been talking to Rebecca from Supergirl Radio, trying to get that sorted.
Okay. And anything else?
I think that's it. Next
Terry
week,
will be back next week.
Terry arrives tonight, so hopefully she'll be here next week. I will be going home Saturday. I believe I'll be traveling Saturday, so there should be a show next week. If not, we'll let you know. But I think everything is lining up for a show next week.
Mike might be missing because he'll be hugging his computer.
He'll be hugging his dog.
I will love my dog. I will be glad to get back on my computer, but I'll also be decompressing. It took me almost a week to get used to the climate here in New Mexico. So different than where I'm at in California. Yeah. And I think I'm gonna probably need some time to acclimate once I get home.
All right. Well, Steve, be on standby for next week.
Yes, please.
Already booked.
Awesome.
He's already penciled it in, Mike. He did that thing where he takes the pencil and he dabs it on his tongue.
Yeah. I tried to give everyone warning to make sure that so. Yeah.
Alrighty.
I think that's all I got. So thank you very much for joining us, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. We talked science and space, and I had fun.
Inspired by Star Trek.
Yeah. A little bit different, but it was awesome. So thanks.
So this is episode 276. Next week, 277. That's right. 277 follows 276 for those playing the home game.
Who'da thunk?
On behalf of Ceridium.
Kapla.
On behalf of Steve.
I'm just here for the pizza.
Oh, GNT show. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. On behalf of Ceridium.
Kabla.
On behalf of Steve,
I'm just here for the pizza.
Jolan True explores GNT 276.
Music for the GNT show is provided by 5-Year Mission, Enterprise Blues Band, Warp 11, Andrew Allen, and Greth Thor. The GNT show is a BLB production.
Move ahead, walk back to 10. Put a mini skirt on my man. Represent the human race. And we make this a happy place. To fully go where no man's gone before. I think I sang that line once before, but I'm not too sure. We'll be so happy, can't you see? A zero-G community. Gonna travel to new worlds. Beam on down and meet some green girls. Gonna see what we can see. A fancy-free galaxy. To only go where no man's gone before. I think I sang that line once before, but I'm not too sure. We'll be so happy, can't you see? A zero-G community. Come and take a tour with me. There'll be no cons or Kobayashi. Gonna travel to the end and make new friends with aliens. To fully go where no man's gone before. Space happy. I think I sang that line once before, but I'm not too sure. We'll be so happy, can't you see? A zero-G community. To fully go where no man's gone before. Space happy. I think I sang that line once before, but I'm not too sure. We'll be so happy, can't you see? A zero-G